Hi, I'm Tom Mulaney. Welcome to Supercharge Student Collaboration with Google Jamboard. There is a bit.ly that you can use to access the slides that I will refer to throughout this session, and that is bit.ly. Oh, I covered it up. bit.ly/jam collaboration. You can pause the video now to bring up those slides, and this URL will be on further slides as we go. I am Tom Mulaney. That's a picture of me right there. I have 16 years in education. First, I started off in special education. I then switched to secondary social studies and then went into ed tech coaching. You can find my YouTube, Twitter, and blog all hyperlinked from this slide. Before we get to Jamboard for collaboration, anytime we talk about using technology with students, we have to consider its implications for equity. Now, technology does not solve equity at all. There are equity concerns in the United States of America and other places that simply are so big and much more structural than just what one teacher does in their classroom. Having said that, technology is an accelerant. It makes equitable teaching even more inclusive, and it makes oppressive teaching even worse. So I'll give you a couple of examples. With equitable teaching, with Jamboard, it gives kids numerous ways to express themselves and to process what they learned, things that they wouldn't have had without it. Now, as far as using Jamboard to make oppressive teaching worse, you probably can't unless you give a lot of homework with Jamboard or something, or insist on Jamboards being precisely neat, which I'll get to later. I like to use the example of lunch detention and Google Sheets. Using Google Sheets to have a great system of lunch detention. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Anyway, the point is made. You think about equity anytime you use technology. Our agenda, first of all, the why of Google Jamboard, the how it works. We'll go right through the app step by step, and the uses. So classroom uses that you can use with your students. All right, let's talk about why. So why use Google Jamboard? So collaboration. Jamboard is the teacher who is told, hey, when I observe your class, I want to see your kids collaborating. Well, Google Jamboard is that teacher's best friend and dream come true. So the G Suite Core 4, and when I say Core 4, I'm referring to docs, drawings, sheets, and slides. They are great for structured collaboration. And we all know what that looks like, right? There's feedback, there's comments, students work together in real time. But what about free-form brainstorming? Just when you literally want to throw every idea you have up against the wall and see what sticks. That's where Google Jamboard comes in. And yes, I use this GIF from Spaceballs. You know, we're going to jam it. So a little bit more about why. It saves to dry. So Google Jamboard generates files called jams. Those files, I'll demo this a little later, save to Google Drive. How great is that? Students can express themselves in different ways. There are a lot of different ways to input information into a Google Jamboard jam, and I will demonstrate those. Sketchnoting. We all know that sketchnoting has gotten very big in the last few years. And oftentimes when people share their sketch notes, they're made on iPads with premium apps. Now, Jamboard works on iPads, but it is not a premium app. It's not a freemium app. It's completely free to anybody who uses G Suite for education. It costs as much and is as FERPA and COPPA compliant as Google Docs, right? So you can use this free tool using devices you already have to sketchnote. Math, you'll see. I keep on saying that there's stuff coming up, but there is. I'm not kidding about that. So there's math, and it's just fun. Use technology to make things a little bit more fun, please. It just does that. It does that so well. And why not have fun when you're learning, right? All right. This is a video on slide 9. I'm not going to play it because you're watching me with a video, so I'm not going to play this, but this is from Google when they first introduced Jamboard. Now, this is the Jamboard device, and I'm going to make this very clear real quick. We're not talking about the device. We're talking about the app. I'll explain the difference between the different versions of the app and the Jamboard device in a minute. But the Jamboard is a $5,000 device. I've had the distinct honor and privilege of playing with one a couple times. I would not say, hey, I would actually recommend it. If your district has the $5,000, get one, have fun. But what we're talking about today is the Google Jamboard app that goes with the device for people who are working remotely. And that's what we're going to focus on today. If you want to watch this video, it's on slide 9 and you can do that. All right, let's get into the how. So let's talk about the Jamboard experience, because teachers and students use a variety of devices. And so sometimes you get a streamlined Jamboard experience and sometimes you get the most robust. We'll talk about that. So if you go right now to jamboard.google.com, you will get the web-based version. It is the most streamlined version. It does not have every single tool. We'll go over the tools in 1 minute. If you are in your school or work account and you go to jamboard.google.com and you're told, nope, you're not allowed to use the service, then put in a ticket with your IT people, your Google administrator, and they can open it up for you. As I said, it is actually a core service. It's FERPA and COPPA compliant, so you should go ahead and do that. In that case, open this up with your personal account, go to jamboard.google.com, and you'll be able to play in Google Jamboard on the web. Then there's the app that they make for the cell phone, which is, if you have a mobile phone, feel free to play with it. It's a bit of a hybrid between the full-on tablet app and the web, but we'll talk about that more on the next slide. There is the app for Chromebooks and iPads. This is where we're really going to spend our time today. And if your students use Chromebooks, then they should be using the Jamboard Android app on their Chromebook. If they use iPads, again, don't use the web app. Use the iTunes Store Jamboard app. That's what I'll be demoing today, and it is so good. Highly recommend. The most robust experience would be to be actually purchasing the $5,000 Jamboard. This here, all this works in technology that you already have. The Jamboard itself is a separate device that's more expensive. Like I said, if you have the funds or you get a grant, go ahead and do it, but it's not what I'll be covering today. All right, so let's talk about what we get on the Jamboard by device, right? So on the web, you get 4 ink pens, and trust me, I'll be demoing all this in a few minutes, but you'll see an eraser, a select tool that can, choose different objects on the screen, sticky notes, and a lot of people think that's kind of like a little Padlet-esque. It's not exactly the same, but there's some similarities. You can insert images, you can change backgrounds, and that's going to be, we'll get to something really cool with that in math. You can insert animated GIFs. Actually, for inserting animated GIFs into a jam, it is by far the easiest. Actually, the web is the easiest way to do that. That's really a lot of fun. There's a clear frame tool if you ever need to just wipe your slate clean. Now, the phone, it's all that, and you get the lasso tool, the select tool becomes like a lasso where you can circle and grab a bunch of stuff simultaneously. Really cool. Handwriting recognition, so you can scribble in words and then it recognizes them. Shape recognition. You can insert content from your Google Drive. That is really, really cool. Camera integration, so it'll use your webcam. And you can upload image from device. It's called image library, but basically if you have something on your hard drive on your phone, you can use that. All right. The Jamboard experience on your Chromebook or iPad is all of that, all of this stuff and more. Auto draw is amazing. I'll demo soon. Stickers, they are kind of like emojis. Okay, so it's all this stuff. One real quick caveat on your cell phone, there is no web search for images. On the web at jamboard.google.com and the Chromebook/iPad app, you can search the web. Those are content-friendly images. So you're not going to get all these awesome memes and GIFs because those aren't cleared. Those aren't labeled for reuse. That search that you'll have on these devices and the web is labeled for reuse. So that's also really good. All right. So at this time, it's time to play. I want you to get out your phone, your tablet, your Android app on a Chromebook, and I'll be using this is a Chromebook. I'll be using the Android app. Or if you're using a Mac or Windows device, I want you to go to jamboard.google.com. So I'm going to go there myself, right? Or excuse me, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to the Android app on my Chromebook. So I hit that multi-window key and I go to the Jamboard app, which I've actually pinned to the shelf of my Chromebook. And I suggest you have your students do the same if you're using Jamboard regularly for collaboration and brainstorming. And we go here. Now, if this is the first time you've used the Jamboard app, you are going to see nothing. It's nothing. I have jams I've worked on previously all right here. You can see that, right? And as I scroll through more and more jams that I've worked on, some I've copied or I've had students make copies of, so I have a lot of duplicates, but there they all are. And if we look here, this here will sort it A to Z. You can sort it. This here will change it to a list. I don't really like that view. I like the film strip is what they call. Oh, look at that. Actually, that's something new. I like the view as grid. There you go. There's also what I like to call the veggie burger over here. And the veggie burger, again, we're not going to talk about connecting to Jamboards or any of that stuff. You can get recent or shared with me just like in Google Drive. You can change which account you're signed in, but that's not that big a deal. On the Jamboard home screen, you really care about being able to access your earlier jams, or bottom right, creating a new one. So let's create a new jam. And you see what we have here. This is the tool. This is Google Jamboard on my Chromebook. If you have an iPad, it will look very, very similar. We're actually going to kind of start left and right here, or excuse me, from right to left, because whenever a student creates a new jam, they really should start on the right. Now, this here is open on an actual Jamboard. We're going to ignore that. We don't care. If there's a Jamboard in the room, we can play with that. But we care about the three-dot menu. So you can make a copy and rename. Immediately we rename. All right, so demonstration jam. You do that right away. Always name it. It might be, as many specifics as you can give it. You do that. The other thing I want to point out is you can add people for collaboration. You can add to start in your Google Drive, or you can share the jam as a PDF or the frame as an image. If you work with G Suite for Education, that should sound very familiar to you because it replicates what the experience in Google Slides. In Google Slides, you can make an entire presentation a PDF or an entire slide an image. And so a file is called a jam, and a frame, or excuse me, like a slide is an individual unit is a frame. So I can always just make another frame right here with this tool, right? And I can go between my frames and create more using this tool in the top center. The other thing I can do is I can click this right here and I get a drop down. And when I choose any one frame, I can delete or duplicate. The other thing I can do is change the background, and this is huge. So if I change the background, look at these choices. I'll focus on this one right here. This is college ruled paper. I personally, Tom Mulaney, am not a big fan of college ruled. I find it a little thin, but you can use it if you want. What I like more, if I go to background here, is graph paper. So yes, and by the way, I can apply that to all. What Google Jamboard does is it gives you infinite collaborative graph paper for you and your students. Yep, math applications. We'll talk some more math applications shortly. All right, I'm going to go back to my first frame and let's play with the tools. So the tools are 4 pens, and I'll keep them in black for now. And actually, you know what? I'm also going to change my frame background to just simple white just to keep this as simple as possible. And so there's one. And let me put that away. Here's the second pen. I really like that one. The third is my favorite. You see that like etched calligraphy marker there? And the fourth, I'm going to actually change my color to yellow because the fourth acts as a highlighter. See that? That's pretty cool. And if I don't like anything that's just happened, I can undo right down here in the bottom right. And I can redo as well. And I love that because it's perfect undo and redo, something you don't have in analog when you play. All right, let's now go down to assistive drawing tools. And by the way, I'm going to go back to black and assistive drawing tools. And we have handwriting recognition. And so I will write the word word and we'll see how that goes. It worked. Yay. And once I do that, I can drag it all around. I can duplicate it. I can throw it in the trash. Yep, it'll give me the option to delete there, but throwing it in the trash at the bottom of the screen is fun as well. All right, I have shape recognition. So if I draw a little triangle with that, nicely done. I can also draw a right angle with that. I can draw, excuse me, that was an acute angle. Sorry. I can draw a right angle. Now there's a right angle, or an obtuse angle with that. Nope, that didn't work. Undo, undo. Try that one more time. No, again, my obtuse angle is not working. And you know what? I think now I need to use my lasso tool to select all this stuff. And now with my two fingers, I can pinch it to make it bigger or smaller. You see, it's a lasso tool. Really cool. Let's go back here for shape recognition. Did that work? Yes, there is an obtuse angle right there. And I will also use the select tool to pinch and make that smaller. Okay. On we go to auto draw. Auto draw is the most amazing thing in the world. If I want to draw planet Earth, and there's part of planet Earth, and now is it another planet? Is it Saturn? My planet Earth, not doing that great here, but I'll just make that Saturn. I'll try that one more time with planet Earth. There's North America. There's South America. And, oh, wait. I thought I had it. Basketball, thinks it's baseball. Oh, wow. A lot of different things. Let me keep on trying. Let me try over here. And there you go. There's planet Earth. I knew if I just kept at it and I click the check and it's good. Okay. The other thing I would say is you can always pinch to zoom. So with your thumb and index finger, pinch to zoom in. And now if I want to draw, say, like a basketball hoop, and I draw that and I draw that with it. And let's see, don't have it yet. It's more of like a bucket. Oh, there's a hockey. Amazing. What if I make it more like that? Drum, snare drum. There's so many different things in AutoDraw. It's amazing how much fun this is. Maybe if I put a backboard on it, maybe. I don't know. No, it's not. So I'm trying different things, but anyway, I'm just going to make it a paint jar, and then I'm going to zoom out. And you see it gets smaller. You can do that same thing with Word. There is an eraser. The eraser will simply erase things that are written. It won't erase AutoDraw. I already demoed the select tool. There is this tool, like an invisible pen, to kind of show people and demo stuff. Doesn't really matter to me. All right, with the plus tool, we can insert sticky notes. The other thing we can do with that is we can change the colors. So a way you can have students collaborate would be assign them colors. So, hey, Rachel, you're yellow, Monica, you're green, Phoebe, you're blue, and so on. But I can also make it plain text because I have a clear background. And I do that. And again, now I can move around and reshape and whatnot. The other thing I can do is I can go up, over here to my thumbnail preview and drag from one to the other. So I can drag elements from one frame into another frame. How cool is that? Let's go to frame 2. And let's also change that background one more time. Make that white. We're having some fun today. All right. From there, let's do images. So I can search for an image, and I will search for Mr. Rogers. What the heck? Let's make it a fun. And these are labeled for reuse, and I just drag, and now I got Mr. Rogers over here. Look at that. I can make him nice and big or make him nice and small. The other thing is if I make Mr. Rogers big and then I go back to my ink pen over here, and here I'll make it, and I'll just draw a little bit on him. No matter what I do with Mr. Rogers, the ink is always going to come out on top of everything. The ink is always on top. All right, let's continue here. Drive content. Let's do this. So you choose Google Drive. Now, by the way, you have to have the Google Drive Android app installed in order to do this. All right, so I see my Google Drive. And let's just go here to, I'll do blog posts. And I want a Google Doc real quick. So let me go back here to, all right, we'll go to the document. I'll hit select. Now this is here. I'm going to use the select tool to grab it. It's not very useful right now, but if I click the three dots and I click expand, now I can take each page and make each page an image. Look at that. The possibilities, let me throw them away the possibilities for that are endless, because you can take something from Google Drive and annotate on it, sketch on it. How cool is that? All right, also camera, here I am, I'm in my sweats. There I am. And I like it, great. And so there I go. I go in kind of small, but again, I can just grab or pinch to zoom and then grab myself. Pinch to zoom is a really useful tool in Google Jamboard. I'm going to say that real quick. Zooming in on that canvas really is. All right, image library. So this will take something off of my device. And so you have this on your phone as well and on the web. And so I'm just going to take this image of some falafel and put that in. And again, if I just zoom in on it, make it bigger. Yeah, there you go. So now I got me, falafel, Mr. Rogers, you name it, we got it, right? So much fun. Image library, we did that. And then lastly, stickers. And so here are emojis that you can throw in. Now, one little caveat about that. If you're using this to give, if you're in a student's jam and you're giving them feedback, please do not use the thumbs down or the red X. Please don't do that. If you have students using that to show negative developments or something like that, that's totally fine. But to me, that strikes me as Harry Wong's rule about never using red pens to mark papers, like on steroids. Like that just feels like maybe not, that's too harsh for feedback for students, okay? But other than that, it's wonderful. So good. The other thing I would say is, and I hope you've picked up on this as I've played in Jamboard, and we'll go back here. Jamboard is a messy app. It is not an app for artistic precision. It just isn't. So grading students on neatness in Jamboard would be using Jamboard against equity. So don't grade students on their neatness. All right. And I think we've covered the app. So that's the app. I want to show you real quick my Google Drive. Because if I'm in Google Drive, and let's just escape out of this, and I go to my recent in my Google Drive, and look what's there, demonstration jam. Yes, and it is exactly what I have been working on all this time. If I go to this like thumbnail view, you should be able to see a little preview of it. Well, my Wi-Fi is taking a hot minute to load. It actually has the Jam logo, and actually look at this so you can see the logos. Oh, but there it is. Oh, and there it is, right? So it's a Google Drive file, no different than any other Google Drive file. All right, now that we've proven that, let's go back as far as some uses for Jamboard. And I have to hit present again. All right, first of all, Google Classroom assignments. Google Jamboard jams integrate with Google Classroom like Docs, drawings, slides, and sheets do. Yes, it's true. You can create a jam, students can view, students can edit, and make a copy for each student. How cool is that? Now, what I would suggest is having students can edit. Don't do that for the whole class. Do that for a group of students. And again, you could use those Post-it notes to assign, like this student uses this color Post-it note, that student uses that color, and that's where they can brainstorm and do all sorts of cool things. All right, math, it is infinite collaborative graph paper. Yes, how cool is that? You can have students graphing collaboratively. I would start off with 2 students at a time and build up. Really cool. Math, angles, I showed you that, but you can do angles in Google Jamboard using the shape tool. Pre-writing. Google Jamboard is the best for pre-writing. So students want to pre-write something. They want to get some notes on paper, but save it to their Google Drive or share it with their teacher in Google Classroom. Pre-writing, Google Jamboard is awesome for that. Storyboarding. Now, this is using that auto draw that's only available in the iPad and Chromebook version of this, but you see here, you can have so much fun storyboarding. And if you consider each frame of a jam a different scene, you can use it to collaboratively storyboard and make a plan for work coming up. More Jamboard ideas, entrance tickets and exit tickets. Remember, it's just like Google Classroom. And you could have kids in your whole class contributing to one jam using Post-it or sticky notes or whatever to add ideas. A jam for each subtopic of a curricular unit. I used to teach US history. And so when I think of, like, say, Andrew Jackson, right? Like, there's his war on the bank. There's his terrible treatment of Native Americans. There's the spoils system. There's Jacksonian democracy. All that stuff is a subtopic of that unit. What if you had a group of kids keeping a jam, including artifacts, including stuff from your Google Slides or their Google Slides, including images, so that there's a jam. And at the end of the unit, we can, you do like a Jamboard gallery walk. You can jot notes with this. If you have a touchscreen Chromebook or the iPad, you can use it to jot notes. Drawing is so good for learning. Let students draw. And again, you have drawing, but with a perfect undo and redo button and Google Drive and Classroom integration. Win-win. Curate research sources. So students could take screen caps of the sites they're using to research, put those screen caps into a Google Jamboard jam for their teacher to see. They get a visual picture, not just a works cited or bibliography, but a visual picture of what students are using as their sources. And community back channel or help. If you just have students in the same jam and they can ask questions, maybe using the sticky notes, and they can reply to each other. And I just need to advance my slide deck. And that's it. Yeah, basically just the credits. I got this from Slides Carnival, as you might imagine. I'll put my contact info right here. My Twitter is @TomEMulaney. If you have any questions about this, there I am, and on Twitter. Love those, by the way, those thumbnail previews. Hit me up @TomEMulaney on Twitter. You can also go to my blog, which is just tommulaney.com. And I'm not getting, there we go. There's my little preview. Google Jamboard, it is a wonderful app for collaboration. I highly encourage you to use it. And yeah, hit me up with questions @TomEMulaney on Twitter. And thank you so much for watching. Enjoy jamming.